So, Les, I mean, take us back to the campaign where Donald Trump decided to highlight this Carrier air conditioner facility. Where was it? Just set the context for us.
Well, there's a plant in the suburbs of Indianapolis, about 1,400 people. I don't think Trump had any idea its composition, but it's half African American. 50% of the women on 50% of the people on the assembly line there are women. It's an air conditioning factory, and it's owned. The parent company is United Technologies, and over the next 2 years, they're going to move the whole plant, lock, stock, and barrel, to Mexico. So Trump picked up on it as an example of the kind of thing that he would take care of. He was certain that he would get them to cry uncle, and that they would, after he was president, that they would change their mind because he would threaten them with a 35% tariff, and he would threaten United Technologies with the same if they didn't keep those jobs here. So what he did is he tapped in. It was a very good way to tap into the trade issue and put Hillary Clinton on the defensive for having supported NAFTA and for having nothing really to say to the carrier workers. So Trump, in his kind of bombastic way, went right at it, and then he kept repeating it again and again and again.
Okay, and let's just start with the basic premise. Let's start with, I guess, Trump's end of this premise, right? Not the premise as to why United Technology is leaving. Does the President of the United States have a unilateral ability to slap a 35% tariff on a company?
Probably.
Really?
I think it would have to be a category of goods. I don't know if he could do it on one company.
Right.
But I think he has a certain amount of leeway. I'm not a trade expert. I can't tell you exactly what he can do or what he can't do. But and if he couldn't do it that way, he could probably get a piece of legislation passed. The question is, I think you have to do a category as opposed to a particular company, unless they're violating, some sort of sanctions, which is not the case here.
Okay,
but
so
he could certainly use the bully pulpit. More importantly, he could continually embarrass Carrier and United Technologies for being, he could whoop up anti-corporate sentiment that the rest of the corporate community would be pressuring Carrier, pressuring United Technologies not to make the move, because
just
it would
so that they
could
don't
lead
become
to
the
broader
target
problems for all the corporate elites.
And all right, so let's talk about the reasons why, when a air conditioner factory plans to make the move to Mexico, is this a function of NAFTA? I mean, NAFTA's 22 years old now. I mean, why would they do this now if they had the opportunity to do it before?
Well, that's a great question, and I try to think through the various reasons that are usually said. Like, so for example, most of the media commentators say, the issue isn't trade, the issue is technology, this irresistible force of technological improvement, and that's why American workers are losing their jobs, because they're basically being automated out of existence. In this case, they're literally moving the plant machine by machine to Mexico, same technology. So that reason completely collapses. Another reason cited often is, well, look, they're up against foreign competition and other companies making similar products from around the world using less expensive labor, so they have no choice but to compete by going to low-wage countries, whether it be Mexico or Vietnam or wherever. Well, it turns out that Carrier is the most profitable division of United Technologies. So it actually has nothing to do with profitability or the existence of low-wage labor. What it has to do with is this unbelievable story of wealth extraction from companies and from other parts of society as well by Wall Street. We call it financial strip mining. And it's a process of taking money out of the facility through stock buybacks. Literally gathering as much cash flow as possible from within the company, going into the marketplace, and then buying back United Technologies stock. And in doing so, it raises the price of the stock. And the executives who get paid probably half or more of their income comes from stock incentives they gain by it. But most importantly, the largest investors, the hedge funds, are pressing for this again and again. There's 50-some hedge funds that are in United Technologies, and they got United Technologies to do a $10 billion, 10 with a B, $billion stock buyback just before the announcement of this plant relocation. So the goal is move the plant from Indiana to Mexico, where the wages are roughly 1/8 as much. Take that money saved and use it to buy back their own shares, thereby enriching the hedge fund investors and the top executives. That's been happening in plant after plant after plant all over the country. And before 1982, this was illegal. Why?
Les, before we get to that part, no, I want, because this is really important, I think, for people to understand this dynamic, because this dynamic explains so much, but is so it's contrary, I think, to the way that most people perceive how business is run or what the agendas are here. Because when we think of, like, why would a company do this? If they're already extremely profitable, why would they do this? And I think the mistake that people make who are not engaged in this type of business in one end or the other, the financiers who are betting these side bets on it, or those people in the corner offices, the C-suites, as they say. People have to understand that these companies are run by individuals who may not have the same, they may have a misaligned incentive with the incentive of a company as a whole. So in this instance, you have CEOs, you have board of directors, you have other chief executives, and you have these hedge funders who, by and large, are not terribly interested in where this company is 15 years down the road. They certainly don't care anything about the communities that they are in. They don't care about the workers. They can make money even if the company slowly fails. And in fact, the success of the company and their ability to make money are sometimes at loggerheads. So just to walk through this again, before we go to break and then we talk about why they're able to do this, the company is running basically at peak efficiency, more or less, right? I mean, it's the highest, it's creating the most amount of profits of all the companies within United Technologies. They have basically hit the wall as to how you could get more wealth out of this. And so they make the decision to ship the factory down to Mexico with workers who maybe they're as good as the workers who have been there. We don't know, but we know the workers who are there now have made this company a huge success. But they know those workers in Mexico are paid less, and they're going to use that extra money not to invest in more machinery or into better technology or any of that would ensure the long-term health of the company. They're just going to use it as basically a pump scheme, part of the pump and dump, as it were. And I think they're going to end up dumping it. They're going to pump up this stock price by buying back the shares, creating a scarcity of shares, and they're all going to enrich themselves. And them, in this case, could be literally just maybe a couple of dozen people, maybe even less. When we come back, Les, I want you to explain to our audience how this is legal, because this just sounds like stock manipulation, and it's being done at the expense of the communities, the workers, and probably the long-term health of the company. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Sam Seder on Ring of Fire Radio. I'm talking to Les Leopold about this incredible story about why this Carrier air conditioner company was interested in going to Mexico in the first place. We'll be right back after this.